Good morning, everyone. Or good evening over in Europe. Really so special to have people from around the world joining us for these calls. Maybe in the future, we could even all, how you can sort of rename yourself on Zoom. We could put in our sort of location, even though sometimes it's changing over the summer. I know some people are traveling, just so that people get a real sense of it. I get so tickled by how spread out we are, and yet here we all are, sort of joined in this ability to connect to our own minds and hearts. So we are somewhere in the midst of week 3 with our progressive stages of meditation. And we did 2 practices, a body scan and sort of a practice relaxing the body. So very somatic. And now we're at the point where we are engaging in working with one aspect of the body, the breath. Some people, I'll just say myself when I got going with these practices, think of meditation as a mental exercise. Oh, I'm working with my mind drifts off, I acknowledge it, I keep bringing my mind back to the present. What do we bring the mind back to? It's the physical sensation of the breath. It's a physical practice. So it's not like we've made a big jump. Instead of saying, oh, I'm focusing on relaxing my arms, wiggling my fingers, it's a sense of I'm relaxing the totality of the body. I'm long enough to just exist in the present moment. How do we exist in the present moment in this particular type of practice? And we'll see there are many other types of practices that we'll engage in with the same sort of intent. Here, we are focusing on the physical act of the breath, the physical sensation of the breath entering and then leaving the body over and over again. The nice thing, of course, about the breath is that it's always with us. It's not like we got to go out and get it or something like that. And it's always fresh. It's always changing. So there's some similar, both a sense of rhythm and stability, because we know it's really going to be there for us. If we're not breathing, then we're having larger issues than keeping to our meditation practice. And at the same time, it's so fluid and ever-changing that there's almost, I don't want to say it's entertaining, but we've got really good stuff on Netflix these days, but there is a sense of something to hang our hat onto in terms of our attention span, because it's always moving. It's always like watching the ocean, for example, the waves coming and going. There's always something happening here. So there's still something for us to rest our mind on in the mindfulness practices. When we talk about being present for something like 10 cycles of the breath, that is approximately a minute. So for anyone who's been starting to work with this practice or worked with this practice in the past, and you say to yourself, oh, it's really hard for me to get to 10 cycles of the breath, you might start beating yourself up and say, oh, I'm bad at meditation. I can't even be present for a minute, right? And this is not helpful behavior, right? This isn't the attitude we need to be taking for our practice. There's always going to be, regardless of what type of meditation technique we're using, a balance between gentleness and discipline. The discipline here is to continuously note, oh, yes, I drifted off and I can come back to the breath over and over again. That we don't just let the mind wander off and have its sort of free time to go explore what we're going to do this weekend and so on and so forth. It's a sense of, oh, I acknowledge that I've drifted off. I quickly catch myself. I'm back. But we temper this, not with that sense of self-aggression that I just mentioned, but a sense of gentleness. Oh, I drifted off. Not a big deal. This happens to quite literally everyone. Okay, I acknowledge it. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Here I am again. I'm present. It's that. There's a sense of real, like we have to go to the extreme, not even like the normal gentleness we would show ourselves, but like the gentleness we would show to like a good friend who we're trying to coax through a hard time. Hey, it's okay. It's going to be okay. It's not a big deal. Or another analogy would be that of, hopefully you can't hear the dogs playing upstairs, but Winnie, our older dog, gets very scared of thunderstorms. So he tries to hide under the bed. And you sort of say, come on, Winnie. It's not a big deal. You can come out. is that sense of gentleness. Sort of tone we would take for coaxing the scared dog. This is the attitude we should take towards the mind in meditation. Yes, there's the discipline. Okay, come on back. But we do it with extreme gentleness. If you are someone, and then I'll stop talking at you and we'll practice together this technique. If you're someone who has been meditating for quite some time, you meditate for longer periods than the 10, 15 minutes that are in the recordings, you may say to yourself, 10 cycles of the breath. Okay, cool. I've done this for a while. Maybe you want to move. Another traditional way of doing this is 21 cycles of the breath. It's about 2 minutes. And then if you down the road, if you feel like you want to challenge yourself or something like that, if you're doing long practices, half hour or more, often, if you go on a long meditation retreat, you could do this, but you would do 108 cycles of the breath, which is around 10 minutes of being present. And the funny thing is, we start to notice, I've had some conversations and one-on-ones with some of you, that there's a possibility that we could be with the breath and thoughts can just sort of come and go without us getting distracted by them. Right? We notice, 1, 2, what am I doing for dinner? And we're still with the breath. 3, because the thought, it just almost doesn't latch. It doesn't land in the same way because we're so focused on counting each breath. So it's fine. Thoughts will arise. If we're not getting distracted, we don't need to reach out and say, grab onto them, pull them back, get rid of them, and none of that. It's just a sense of they come and go like clouds across the sky. So let's try this particular technique. I feel like I threw a lot of additional stuff at you today. But we'll just get into the body in whatever way feels comfortable to you. Feeling down through the feet, if you're seated, through your ankles, if you have your legs crossed. Of course, through our sits bones. Really taking the time to feel grounded in the body, so rooted down, feeling the weight and the solidity of the body itself. We balance that sense of groundedness with a sense of upliftedness, lifting through the top of the head as opposed to the shoulders. Relaxing the muscles in the back. Relaxing the muscles in the face. And when you're ready, relaxing into feeling the breath. So as I mentioned at the top of our time together, this is less about thinking about the breath, more just feeling the natural sensation of the in-breath and out-breath. Wherever you find it best in the body, it's good to just place your attention there. And then when you're ready, you can introduce counting each breath. So by way of review, that means that we notice the in-breath, the out-breath, both. And then at the end of the out-breath, we silently acknowledge it with the number 1. Breath enters, leaves the body. 2. 3. Now, of course, we either completely have forgotten what number we're on, which is a good indication that we've gotten lost in thought, or we catch ourselves and we say, oh, I'm thinking about lunch. We just acknowledge it. In either case, we just come back to the breath, starting again at 1. When we do drift off, we would just silently say to ourselves, thinking, just to acknowledge it. Having acknowledged it, we come right back to the breath. And that's the moment that we actually offer a sense of gentleness and discipline. A discipline, I caught myself, it's not a big deal. Gentleness, oh, I don't have to beat myself up over this. It's happening to everyone here, all these people from around the world, drifting off, coming back. We're all doing it together. Thinking. Thinking. We come back, we start again. It's the joy of the practice. We can always start fresh. This last minute or so of practice, let's just see if we can show up for each individual breath. When you're ready, you can begin to transition out of the practice in whatever way feels right to you. Gradually moving to the point of connection to the environment around you. Go ahead and turn off the recording.